Hello, and welcome to another FormStack product demo. Today we're going to be taking a look at our advanced integration feature based on our Sync platform, formerly known as Bedrock Data. So today we have a basic use case where we have a customer that is wanting to intake from one of their clients data and then have that information pushed back to a CRM that they are using. So maybe a Microsoft Dynamics or a NetSuite. In this case, we are going to use Microsoft Dynamics. So for a lot of small businesses and medium businesses, they are taking in information and then are manually adding it to a CRM like Dynamics. This can be time consuming and extremely frustrating. So using our advanced integrations with FormStack Sync, you're able to take all that information digitally and have it automatically pushed to your CRM. So let's take a look how this works. We first want to start with our form within FormStack and create it out with some basic information, your name, address, email, phone number, and you can add other information. The big key here as we create our form is just that we are going to need to map it to how either a contact or a lead is set up within our own CRM. So name your form because that's going to be important when we pull the form within our Sync platform here. So for this example, I am using Dynamics Test. Then we want to go into our Sync portion of our account, log in, and we want to start setting up our mappings for this particular form to go into our CRM. Again, in this case, we're using Dynamics. So first we need to start with our connectors. We first need to be able to install our FormStack connector. So you can just go to right here, install a new connector, look for FormStack, as well as your Microsoft Dynamics, making sure to use the version that you are currently subscribed to. And then it's going to ask for you to sign in to both accounts. So you'll sign into your FormStack account, you'll sign into your Dynamics account. At that point, you have the connectors linked up here. So on your account. What we then need to do is we need to come up with some mappings so that it knows how to send the information from your form over into that CRM correctly. So we want to click on mappings here, and I have one that's already set up. So I have a Dynamics contact mapping here, and when I click on it, I need to be able to set a condition. So when I go up here to the top and I click conditions, I'm basically saying that, look, if any of the following conditions are met, so my FormStack account, which I just installed the connector for, has, and this is where remembering what our form name is really important. So when we go back in, I'm going to do a little drop down and I'm going to find that form that I am working with. So in this one, it's my Dynamics test where any field is not empty. I'm just saying that as long as that is not empty, if there's any information that is submitted from this form, I want it to go and do this mapping. So once we click save, we're going to go back into our mappings and we are going to then customize the fields, how they're mapped together. So we'll just do one of these so you can see how this works out. So we'll take email, for example. So when I click on email, I'm going to name it what I want. It makes sense to name it the exact object I'm dealing with or the field that I'm dealing with here. So email. And then I'm saying, okay, my connector that I'm working with is my FormStack 1. I am working with the actual form, my Dynamics test, for the field email. And then I am now also having that sync with my Dynamics account. It is going to go to a contact. Again, it's important to note that coming from the FormStack connector, we can only sync data from a contact or a lead. So it's going to go to contact, and I just want to make sure that within my Dynamics account that I have the email that I'm going to be using. So this is email address 1 is how it's linked up in Dynamics. So I know these are correct. And I want to turn this from read only to no because I am going to be adding entries into Dynamics and I'm also going to be updating. So we want to make sure that it's not read only. Then all we have to do is click save. Now you want to go through and you want to do that exact process and map for each one of the fields that you have on your form that you want mapped into your CRM. At that point, what's important is that we need to go and tell this system how to trigger off this entire event. Why is it that I'm going to be syncing this information because this form was submitted into my Dynamics account? Well, let's go to our workflows. So I actually have a workflow set up here, and all it is saying, again, is it's just like when we do our conditions within mappings. We're saying that, hey, if any of the following conditions are met. So again, if my form stack connector has this form, my dynamics test form, where any of the fields is not empty, then what should it do? Apply the selected actions. I want it to sync. I want it to create and update records in other systems based on your configured field mappings. Okay, that's correct. At that point, I click Save, and I now have everything set up. I've gone through, I've installed my connectors, so I have my form stack and my dynamics connector. I've gone into my mappings. I've created mappings based on the condition that, hey, if this form has data on it, then these are the mappings that should work. So I have my email, my address, my city, state, first name, last name, zip code. And then I have the whole kickoff, which is, okay, why is this happening? Well, if that form has any data on it, then you need to go and then start this workflow. So let's take a look. If I go back in, I have a little test form that I can do here. All right, so I have Scott Pilgrim here, and I'll go ahead and submit that form. Okay. I'll go into my contacts here. I'll do a little refresh. All right, so there we go. Scott Pilgrim, let's go take a look at him. So we go into, okay, so Scott Pilgrim, it has all of the information that I have based on what was sent from that form. So just like that, we were able to take a basic form data entry and then have it sent directly over into my Microsoft Dynamics account as a contact.